Hey, what's up, Dean? Super Performance. We're at the shop, and we got Daniel's Jeep in here. Jonathan's Ranger. He took it for a ride last week. We found an issue. It gets a little bit hot, so we're going to add a couple of small fans to the inside of the radiator. But the Jeep made a lot of progress despite a lot of issues. So he had already sent the motor, transmission. He had already purchased the Holly accessory kit. So I had more or less all this on. He had the intake. Everything else had to get sent out to this company, Red Rock Off-Road, or let's see, Red Rock Off-Road. I will tell you right off the bat, this is about the best instruction they have is the steering stuff, but most of the other things, they're basically directing you to the installation instructions that came with whatever kit. Like, this is the last couple pieces left on the four-wheel drive cable kit. Well, this bracket is wrong. Well, let's start from the beginning. I get the motor over here. I get the headers on it. Everything else is pretty much on it, except the intake. I grabbed the motor mounts. Now, I used their kit. They make this little tab with a bolt, and you take this out and you put the bolt in there, and then it aligns that motor mount. So I had welded them in, basically, according to that part of the instruction. Then the actual motor mounts, I put this side on, and I go to this side, and I'm flipping it and turning it, and it doesn't look right at all. So I loosely bolted it up there, picked the motor up, set it in. The motor was turned this way, but obviously wouldn't drop into the pockets. So I took this side off, rolled the motor back, dropped it in that pocket, put the bolt in, perfect. And I can hold the motor back. Now the motor is very close to the firewall, but it does have a little bit of a gap, so that's good. You have to trim this tab off the back of the valve cover. So I square the motor up, I level it, I do all of that. And this motor mount, I can flip it 19 different ways and there's no way it'll go on. So I call the guys over at Red Rock. They're nice enough. Now this was last Wednesday, I believe. And I called the guy and I said, hey, these motor mounts are weird to me. Like, there's no picture, blah, blah, blah. What color are they? Gold. Oh, we sent you the wrong one. One's supposed to be different than the other. Okay, well, they're both identical. Yeah, one's supposed to be different. I'll overnight it to you, or a 2-day air it to you, whatever I could do to help you out, blah, blah, blah. It is now Wednesday of the following week, a week later, and I don't have the motor mount. Cool. Sunday I came down. I had Camaro, 69 Camaro here that had a no spark issue on the Holly Terminator. I corrected the crank sensor, cam sensor. Coils were the wrong coils, so I threw a set of coils on there with coil pack harnesses and got the car to fire off. Low oil pressure. Didn't get any better. So that motor's out, and the car is now gone till the motor's corrected. But that's a whole separate issue. So Sunday I decided, they're not going to send it. It took them 9 months to send the kit to begin with. So I took the motor mount, I cut the bucket part off, bolted the plate on there, held it in there, saw that it would work and you'd be able to get to all 4 bolts. I welded it together, mounted the motor, done. I came in yesterday and I stuck the transmission up in there and put their transmission cross member kit in, and it's all right. It lined up pretty good for the most part. So that is all in. Ouch. It's a tubular kit that you basically weld together. Like, this bar is separate, then the center, the 2 outside bars are separate from the center. Then you got the transmission mount, which is oversized a little. Then you have these frame brackets that go up, and the angles were way off on them. So I had to bend those. They don't weld them together, so that's good. But I had to bend them up and get the angles right on it to get the bar to meet up with the transmission good. So I did all of that today. I got that mounted in. I went to do the cable kit. You can see the cable right there, the big black cable. And it's hooked to the four-wheel drive shifter, the new bracket on the floor. But that this other bracket, this bracket here, I put it 9,000 different ways and it doesn't line up with any bolts. So off again I go. I call the guy. I said, hey, it's got a 231 transfer case, 545 RFE transmission. Oh, it's the wrong bracket. Come on. Really? So I'll send you out a bracket. We haven't gotten that other mount in, but I don't need the mount. Okay, cool. So now they're supposed to be sending that bracket out. Highly doubt it. So now I started with the steering. I took the steering shaft back out. Apparently the steering mount doesn't need to be there. That's got to get cut back off because it gets this steering tower, which goes in front of the motor mount. So you gotta bend the crap out of the brake line to get it in there and all this stuff. But it sits here, but it's too tall. It would shove the steering column clean up into the firewall. So it's too tall. So now, okay, cool. I got to work on that. Then they give you a front mount, which I'm sure the front mount will work great, but it goes somewhere over here. I don't know yet because their instructions say put this on the frame and tack it and then move the Heim joints around. They don't give you any good description of where that goes. Okay, I got their new bar. This is old column pieces. You have to grind that weld in there to get that bottom joint apart because you need that. So I gotta do that, but I can't finish it. Well, I mean, I could if I trim that down and do all that stuff. Well, let me try the wiring. Let's move on to the wiring. So I get the harnesses out. Now you send your original harness in. They convert the whole harness over. I guess you have to send the ECU, the fuse box, you have to send everything. Like literally entire harness, front to back. So I get the harness out, and the first one's the engine harness. So I loop it on top of the engine. Now I know coils and injectors, right? That'll depict a lot of where everything goes. So I get passenger side coils, injectors, kind of loop it. It won't fit up there, so I'll put it down there. I get this side together, I drop the back. I don't think the fuel pump's long enough to go to the fuel pump. Cool, I could fix that, not a big deal. And then there's just all these connectors, and they're labeled for the most part. EGR, we're not using that. Cam, doesn't plug in. That's not the right plug. Then there's, come here, EOT. I have no idea what that is. Then you have this one here. I have no idea what that is. CK, crank. Well, I fed it to the crank sensor, and you can see it right there. It's wrong. It doesn't connect. And this engine came with that crank sensor. No, sorry, it didn't. No. He brought me that crank sensor. But it is for a 2006 Dodge Ram, basically, is what it's for. But that doesn't fit. Okay, cool. I get the ECU mounted. I get the other half of the harness thrown up here. Plug that in, plug this in, feed it through the firewall. There's no definite, hey, here's how you do this. So, but that's back in there. Snapped in. Then you'll come in here, which this better be right, should be right, but I have to repin the OBD. Then I'm gonna put my hand in the way, so I've got the drive-by-wire pedal on, which is this. Oh boy, she's stuffed in there. Hold on. Okay, so that's this one here. I haven't tried routing anything yet because of this mess here, but these two plugs here go to the harness, which now I've lost. Now here it is. Oh no, those are my two plugs. I am so sorry. So this is the one. Oh, there it is. There's the little white one right there. So these two plugs will go to here and plug in. Hopefully, maybe I'll get that in a day or so. Then I'll just have to route the drive-by wire up and over. Oh man, I'm about to break a back here. Up and over. Up and over. There it goes. Okay. Oh, that doesn't. Okay, so there. The pedal's all plugged in. Great. So at least I know that's right, and hopefully these are right. They look right, so they should be right. I have to clip them back into their little latches there, so that one stays in, and that one will go in there. That one's plugged in. Then the white one. These are hard to do one-handed. Let me tell you something. Okay. Yeah, seems like that's in too. That one. Oh, there's no clip for that one. Unless it just snaps over the metal. Yep. Okay. So there. That's all done. This is a nightmare. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it threw up or what happened here, but there's so much wire there. That's ridiculous. Okay, so that's all the inside's done. Great. Yay. But here's, like, this is 4x4. Cool. SSO. I have no idea. Speed sensor. Okay, cool. I don't have those yet, actually. Then this is my fuel pump, which it might be long enough. It might be. It might be long enough to get back there. Might be. Never know. Once I get it all tied up and everything and it's not messed up, then there's another harness that drops down. So there's quite a few things that are going on here. This is AC, which is over there. That's fine. You can route that across. Engine coolant temp doesn't plug in. It's not the right end. It's like they left the Jeep stuff on here. I gotta get a map sensor. Then we got alternator and IAT, which I don't know why that's together. Alternator goes over here. This is alternator. Alternator goes over here. It's a Holly one-wire alternator. Not a big deal. I could string that up. IAT's there. Throttle body's plugged in, so that's good. Yeah, there's just a lot. The AC bracket, they don't give you any instruction on the AC stuff at all. But you have to put a new bracket on the firewall because this can used to be over here. So I assume that bracket goes that way and then it relocates the can out a little bit. But that means the factory lines won't work. And they give you the lines. They give you a whole box of lines. But I mean, everything I've done has not worked. Yeah, so here's AC lines, another bracket, unknown. I have no idea what this is for. It's not labeled. It was just thrown in the box. This is an overflow can. lower hose, upper hose, fuel fittings, thermostat switch for the fan, bunch of trans fittings, fuel line, a bundle of wire. Then they label out all these AC hoses. Hopefully they work. I don't know that they will, but I am a little frustrated with it, to say the least. And then I went and got my Traverse motor. So it's been a busy week, I guess you could say, with the Camaro coming up, and it was supposed to be a no spark issue. Then it turned into change the oil pan because it had a truck pan that sat too low, to motors out and completely apart. This is basically the motor. Cranks out of it. All the rods and pistons are still in it. Cam's out of it. Cam bearings are messed up. Rods, bearings are messed up. A couple of the main bearings are messed up. So that all is a shit show. So yeah, tomorrow is my last day down here for a couple days. I get to go away for once. Well, I shouldn't say for once. We'll go away a lot. But I get to go away for a little while, kind of take a break from all of this stuff. And give him some time to possibly get correct sensors or something. It's just crazy to me. You know, just looking at something. Sorry. I almost thought the plug labeled map looked a lot like that coolant sensor, but I don't think that's right. No, it's not right. Thank goodness. I got to figure out where the map sensor goes on this thing. I have no idea where the map sensor goes on this. But it's just a bunch to figure out, and it's not really my thing. You know, these are all labeled RF. I'm assuming these are O2s. So right front. And then I know there was another one. Yeah, I mean, there's just another plug dangling that I have no idea what that goes to. There's a lot. So on top of, you know, the wiring stuff that's just butchered onto here over the years, just been changed and mutilated and all kinds of crazy stuff. This stuff's labeled AC, so I assume these are the sensors. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to do, a lot to figure out. A lot of hair is going to be pulled out, I can tell you that right now. Doesn't help when whatever company you buy all the parts from. I mean, I'm sure he spent a good amount of money on these parts, and then you had to buy the book. He had to buy the book, which is crazy to me. They don't send you the right parts. They don't send them forever. They didn't send the parts forever. I think it took like almost 8 months to get these parts. You know, maybe like 6. But regardless, you know, it feels like forever. Yeah, and then the parts are wrong. You know, a lot of the parts are wrong, and that it puts everything to a screeching halt. I've got 9 things I'm doing right now that none of which are done. You also need to, this is in the book, so like they go through the fuel system and stuff, which they didn't send him any of the fuel system stuff. But in the book, slip yoke eliminator kit. If you don't have one, now's the time to install it. Well, it didn't come with it. So what are we doing? It's so confusing to me that they tell you so many different ways to do things. But we need this for the rear drive shaft because it it's too high. You can't get it on. There's no way to get that on. No way physically would that ever go on. I mean, right now it looks like I could lift it and put it in, but if I let the Jeep sag, like, that U-joint is totally clapped out right now. So you put that eliminator kit on, it shortens that housing, it shortens that shaft, it adds like a CV joint there. So it shortens everything, it lengthens the drive shaft essentially and creates a better angle for it. But that should be in the kit. But it's not. So, and what I look up is this kit right here, what looks to be this kit right here. It's about $700. It's definitely not cheap, you know. So it's just strange to me. Here's engine mounts. These are the pictures they give you. Like, it's just from cutting the old one off to we got the new one clamped on to we put this piece on to you can't really see a hell of anything, you know, and it's just crazy. Even, where was it? Oh, yeah, here. If you have a new Red Rock Link style 4-wheel drive shifter kit, follow the instructions in that kit. Well, no, he has the cable style. So, driveline installation, transfer case, stock drive shaft might work. Longer drive shaft will need to be sourced, especially if you installed a new SYE kit. Install correct new drive shafts. I mean, fine, I get that, like, but there's 3 pictures. Here's the stuff in the kit, which doesn't look anything like this anymore. It's quite different now. And that's it. It's just, it's in. Boom. Done. Nothing about it. And then run the fuel line. Like, what are we doing? Like, it's just, it's so weird to me. Anyways, enough crybabying. Yeah, so as far as Hemi and a Jeep kit, I don't recommend Red Rock Off-Road. I'd imagine if you drop it off to them, they'd be phenomenal at doing it, but maybe they would, maybe they wouldn't. Who knows? I could be completely wrong. But I would imagine they'd be able to put it together and not have any issues, you know. Just I'm sitting here staring at the plugs, the cam plug, ECT. I think I have to get that sensor. I got to tell him that he's got to get that sensor. But I've been making a list, you know, of everything. But now I got to figure out what all these plugs mean. Hopefully I'll be able to do that tomorrow. Get the final list together of what all he needs. Can get pretty much all the wiring stuff done. Maybe I can't even do the fuel lines. He bought he bought Snow Performance fuel lines that have Dash 8 fittings for a stock 5.7. I mean, they look good, they fit good-ish. I had to space them way off, but I have to now build a Dash 8 crossover, deadhead one side, which I did. I deadheaded the back side, but I got to build a crossover, and then I guess put a gauge in there to plug that. Then I got to convert that to a Dash 6, so I got to get an 8 ORB to 6, and then run the fuel line down to the back. And so there's just a lot of things that aren't correct with what we're doing. Oh, there's another one there, so I'll have to plug that one. Just pulling my hair out. Anyways, any who's and what's. That's it. I'm gonna end it off here. Enough crybabying. Maybe tomorrow I'll get a little more done. Jonathan's truck, I got the overflow canister in. New wheels are on it. I got to put spacers on the front for them. Maybe machine down the back spacers to make it not stagger something. And then finish up the tailgate, send it across the street. charge the AC, add those fans. So maybe I'll add his fans tomorrow, so we can see where it's at, because it only heats up when it's idling, sat. So it's just an airflow issue, and I think it's the two Mishimoto fans I put on are in front of the condenser. So I think it blows through the condenser, but then kind of hits the radiator and disperses to the sides, top and bottom, and the radiator hangs down really far. So I'm going to put one on the bottom corner and the top corner of the radiator on the inside of it, trigger it with the same wires, so essentially we'll have, you know, all the fans will work in a sense together, and then we'll see how that works. But appreciate you watching. Like, subscribe, hit the bell to be notified. See you in the next video. Leave me a comment.